Welcome back to Just One Thought. Okay, so we've all been there. You're trying to make a decision, and it feels like there are only two options. It's either do this or that, no in between.
It's called a false dilemma fallacy. Essentially, it's a logical error where we present something as having only two choices, when...
But there's more than two, right?
Sure, life is rarely so black and white. These false dilemmas create an illusion of simplicity, but in doing so, they strip away the complexity of reality.
And then you feel stuck, like it's either complete success or total failure, with no middle ground. That kind of thinking can be so discouraging.
Or the classic, you're either with us or against us. It's such a polarizing way of thinking, isn't it?
Definitely. It's interesting how our brains can fall into that trap, because it feels so much easier to just pick a side and move on, rather than slow down and consider all the possibilities in between.
Precisely. Our minds gravitate towards simplicity because it feels less overwhelming. But the cost of that simplicity is often clarity. We lose those nuances that make situations richer and more meaningful.
Right. And people don't even realize they're falling for it, which is why it happens so much. 1 second, you're just trying to figure out lunch, and suddenly it's, do I stick to my diet or eat 6 donuts? Like there's no other food in existence?
That's a great point. And these false choices can creep into really important areas: relationships, careers, even how we approach social issues. By oversimplifying, we might overlook options that could truly enhance our lives.
Yes, it seems the more we learn to recognize these false dilemmas, the more we open ourselves up to real freedom in how we make decisions.
And that freedom stems from understanding that life isn't just either or.
So it makes me wonder, why does our brain seem to love this either-or thing so much? Why do we fall into these traps of right or wrong or yes or no so easily, when the world is way more complex?
It comes down to our emotional wiring. Our brains are designed to conserve energy, so we tend to gravitate towards simplicity. Binary options feel quicker to process, digestible, and honestly, they feel safer.
Safer but fake, right? Like it's not real.
Precisely. It gives us a sense of control, but that control is often an illusion. When faced with complexity, instead of wading through the shades of grey, many of us just opt for black or white.
And emotions play a big part, right? Especially when stuff gets intense, it's easier to say, pick a side already. It feels like almost a shortcut for your feelings.
Absolutely right. These shortcuts show up everywhere. Take media narratives, for instance. To grab attention, stories are often framed as pro versus con, or hero versus villain, instead of exploring the nuances in between.
I know what you mean. It's the way social media tends to magnify everything. Suddenly, it feels like you're either entirely on board or completely cancelled, with no room left for a more thoughtful, bigger picture discussion.
And when we buy into those narratives, we're not only limiting our perspective, but also perpetuating the cycle. The more we consume oversimplified stories, the harder it becomes to embrace the complexity of real-life situations.
And it's sneaky, too. Even when we think we're being neutral, we're still drawn to stuff that feels easy. You're either chasing success or you're just lazy. Stuff like that.
That's the heart of it. The simplicity is tempting. It feels conclusive, final. But in reality, it limits our ability to recognize all the possibilities that might lead to better outcomes or more profound understanding.
So, in a way, we limit ourselves without even knowing it. So many opportunities stay hidden when we get caught in that either-or way of thinking.
Seeing those choices and other opportunities is crucial. It's what allows us to make decisions that are truly our own.
Right, so if recognizing those false choices is the first step, how do we actually start breaking out of them? Knowing they're there and taking action are two different things.
It can certainly feel tricky, but it ultimately boils down to developing a habit of slowing down and asking the right questions. For instance, try asking yourself, what other options might exist? Or, is there a middle ground I'm overlooking?
Yeah, like giving yourself a little time out to pause and think, right?
Exactly. It's about stepping back from that knee-jerk reaction to choose between A or B and allowing space for something unexpected, option C or even D for that matter.
Ooh, so it's like when my friend was trying to plan her career and she kept saying, it's either go back to school or stay stuck in this boring job forever. Those cannot be the only two choices in the entire universe.
That's a great example. And what happened when she explored more options?
Well, when she slowed down and really talked it through with some friends, boom, they came up with this third idea: start taking some evening classes while staying at her job. She wondered why she hadn't thought of it sooner.
Sometimes the best choices are the ones we almost miss, simply because we're rushing or feel pressured to pick a side. Slowing down opens the space for those options to present themselves.
And it's not just about the decision itself, it's empowering. You're giving yourself the freedom to own your choices instead of feeling boxed in.
Absolutely. It's about realizing that the more we see possibilities, the less constrained and more thoughtful our lives become. Imagine what we could all accomplish with that mindset.
Right? Okay, so let's all make a promise right now to slow down, ask those questions, and maybe even discover doors we didn't know were there.
And on that note, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time.